world, I'm Maya Sundermeyer, and I would like to welcome you to the latest episode of my blog series. So far, I have been able to share my own experiences with you guys on what it's like for me to live with Asperger syndrome. A second thing that I do is give my 2 cents on what's going on with autism in the media and our society as a whole. And a third area would be giving tips and advice to those of you who are on the autism spectrum, as well as friends, families, peers, mentors, job coaches, social workers, and the like. In addition to covering topics that I'm passionate about that are not autism related. Now, before I dive into today's topic, what I would like to do is recommend 2 things. So first and foremost, I'm going to give a shout out to a TED Talk by Chris Varney, and that's all about learning that just because you're autistic, it doesn't mean that you can't do something. So please be sure to click up here in the upper right-hand corner. A second thing that I would like you guys to do is check out my new written blogs on WordPress.com. You can find those under helloworld240.wordpress.com. That's helloworld240.wordpress.com. And I did a new entry last week on the effects of the autistic brain and my findings based on the responses of how one on the spectrum deals with losing a cat or a dog. So please be sure to check those out. What I would like to do now, though, is give my 2 cents not only on what's going on with autism in the media, but I also would like to give my 2 cents on what's going on with autism in society as a whole. But first, I would like to talk about a system that is in place. And it's not just here in the United States, I think it's worldwide. And I'm going to talk about the power and privilege system that I learned about when I took issues in multicultural psychology years ago. So basically, what a power and privilege system is there's specific norms of our society that are set in place with all of these ridiculous rules and regulations, and they can come with segregation, discrimination, and they also prefer to want certain people of specific traits. And those people need to talk a certain way, walk a certain way, dress a certain way, act a certain way, and these people also have to, again, behave a certain way all the time. And these can be rules that can be anything very subtle, and they can be anything from a neurotypical who looks like the all-American white girl or the all-American white boy, and somebody with like us with autism or Asperger's don't quite fit those systems. And these people have a right to live on their own. They can go to college. They can have a regular education. They can have a regular job. They can get married and have kids. They can live where they want. They can be as rich as they want. And it's not the same for somebody who is on the autism spectrum, because society looks at us like we're diseased or looks at us like we're broken and need to be fixed. And a lot of times people on the autism spectrum tend to get stereotyped as somebody who still lives with their parents, or they're disabled, or they live under a guardianship, and they can't have some of the same things that a neurotypical can. So I'll give you an example. So basically, we have someone with autism that's been living on their own in their own place, like an apartment. And let's say that the individual is struggling with managing money, or they're struggling with housekeeping and even trouble finding a job. But I'll talk about the job piece later. But let's say that there are some family members that stumble into their house and they discover that they're having these problems. So they decide that they're going to move them out of their apartment, and they're going to put them under a guardianship, and they're not even going to teach them how to manage money. They just assume, oh, you can't live on your own. Your brain can't handle that kind of stress. It's, you have to have a lot of discipline for those things. Now, let's say that this family member knows of other people that run into the same problems, and they usually just ignore the whole housekeeping bit, and they also tend to tell the person who has written bad checks or allowed other people to take advantage of them, their attitude is, well, you need to take responsibility for your own life. You got yourself into this mess. Now it's your time to get yourself out. And see, that's an example of a power and a privilege. Now, here's a second one. So basically, let's say that the individual is working at a fast food restaurant and there are other people working there too. Let's say that that individual got promoted to work as a cashier or got promoted to work in the back as a fry cook. And let's say that they let the fries cook too long, or let's say that they messed up on the cash register because they didn't know how to count dollar bills. And let's say that the manager decided to put them back in the dining room, or they decided to have them wash dishes again, and they give the job to somebody else. Well, let's say that we have a neurotypical that gets into the same position, and let's say that they tell them to go through some classes on money management and learning how to pay attention. And again, I mean, it's not that they're prejudiced, it's just the way our society is. These are, again, there are power and privileges in place, and there are a lot of people that are not willing to go against these norms because those on top think that those who are helping are defiant. So what they do is they try to exercise power. And what they do is they try to make them think that, oh, they're being defiant or they're being deviant. So, if you have any questions or comments on what I've just talked about, please be sure to state below. Until next time, I'm Maya Sundermeyer. And also, do not forget to subscribe and be sure to check out my Facebook page, Hello World with Maya Sundermeyer, because I often post my videos on there. Until next time, I'm Maya and I'm signing off.